Welcome, everybody, to our exercise and after cancer session. We're really excited to have so many of you here, and we're really excited to be joined by Sophie. So my name is Kainwen, and I am one of the founders and CEOs of Shine Cancer Support. And we are joined by Sophie. Sophie, where are you? I've forgotten.
Well, I'm actually in Wales right now.
Oh.
But I'm based in Hampshire. I'm just in Wales for the week. But yeah, I'm based in Hampshire normally.
Great. Well, Sophie is a personal trainer who's got a background in oncology and nursing and research as well, and became interested in basically the benefits of exercise to people going through cancer treatment. And this is something actually very close to my heart because I was diagnosed with stage 4 non-Hodgkin lymphoma about 12 years ago, and had been what I thought was very fit and healthy, apart from the cancer, before I was diagnosed. And actually, I remember telling all of my doctors, "Oh, I can't have cancer because I'm in really good shape." And they said, "Oh, well, it happens to people." But what I found really interesting was in trying to get back into fitness and actually just more active. It was really difficult, and there wasn't a lot of advice. And I spent 6 months in the hospital lying in bed, which I have discovered is not very good for your muscles. But kind of very slowly found my way to being a bit more active and to getting fit again. And we know that exercise can be a scary word for some people. If you haven't run a marathon before cancer, why would you run one now? Is I think a good point that a few people have made to me. So we're not saying you have to run a marathon, but Sophie is going to talk a little bit about the benefits of just being a little bit more active and moving against cancer. And I'm really pleased to have her here because Move Against Cancer is a charity that was started by a woman named Gemma Hillier-Moses. And Gemma actually had the same cancer as me and the same treatment as me, which is a fairly rare treatment. I think she ran the Great North Run while I was flat on my back. So, the interesting thing Gemma. For me was that you can have the same treatment and very different approaches to coping with it. But we're really excited to have Gemma here. We are recording the session, but just so you know, I'm going to pin Sophie, and we won't see any of you. So if you do want to take show us your lovely faces, we would love to see you.
Yeah, definitely.
And I will, I'm going to hand over to Sophie. And Sophie, I'm just going to,
thank you.
I'm going to make you a spotlight, and there you are.
Ooh.
Welcome.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you, Kainwen. So yeah, it's an absolute pleasure to be here. Really, really happy. So thank you for the invitation. So as Kainwen said, my personal background was in oncology nursing and in oncology research. So I worked as a research nurse for a while, and then I was really fortunate, and I managed to, by a stroke of fate really, to start doing some work with a team that were looking at the benefits of exercise for people with a cancer diagnosis. And I decided at that point to take a kind of a sideways step and stop being a nurse and start being a personal trainer. So I did that, and then did a qualification called CAN Rehab, which enables me to work as a specialist exercise or a cancer exercise specialist with people who are affected by cancer. So that's what I do now. So I do some work for Move charity, which I'm going to talk about tonight, and also for another charity called CAN Rehab. So that's me. I still also do some research for a clinical trials unit based at Warwick University, which I really value because it keeps me in touch with people who are going through cancer treatment, and it kind of keeps me grounded and reminds me what it's really, really like for people to be diagnosed and going through it. So although I haven't had cancer myself, I do empathize with all of you. So anyway, enough about me. So I'm going to tell you about, I'm going to talk about the Move charity, and I'm going to talk about exercise, and why it's good for you, how you can do it, how we might be able to help you to do it from the charity, and what your next move might be in order to get started. I am perfectly in favour of anyone just interrupting me and shouting out, please do that, just unmute yourself and ask me questions, or stick your questions in the chat box, and I think Kynwyn's going to keep an eye on that for us. So please ask me questions. If I can't answer them, I will do my best to get back to you a later date with an answer by Kynwyn or something like that. So don't be shy, please don't be shy. I'd also included in this slide set an opportunity for us to do a little bit of exercise. I may not do that. It depends. If people would rather not do that and you haven't got cameras on, then we'll not do it. I'm not going to force anyone to jump up and down and so on. So we can talk about it instead. It's not a problem. And excuse me if it looks like I'm looking up in the sky. I've got one of these fancy double screen computers, so I'm trying to keep an eye on two different things. And I'm not the most techie. So anyway, really happy to have you all here. Thank you for coming along. So Move charity, Move Against Cancer, was founded, let me just see if I can move on to the next slide. Here we go. Was founded, as Kynwyn said, by this lovely lady here, Gemma Hillier-Moses. So Gemma was an international athlete, which is why she was probably running the North Run while she was having treatment for cancer. She's still completely mad and completely like super active and super fit. So in 2016, she'd been through cancer. I think, actually, was that when she was diagnosed, Kynwyn? Because it was the same, yeah, 2016. So she decided that she wanted to found the Move charity because she herself, when she was diagnosed, as Kynwyn just said as well, was never given any advice on how she could or couldn't stay active. So she just didn't know what to do to stay active. And so she decided to found the Move charity so that she could provide or start to provide free and professional advice on literally how to move against cancer to people who were diagnosed with it. And so the aim of the charity now is to support and inspire people to move against cancer. The other lady in this photograph is a lovely lady called Sophie Gasson, who is herself an oncology consultant, a cancer consultant, and also happens to be an Ironman champion. So they're quite a formidable pair. But the rest of the team, I'm going to tell you about the rest of the team as well, because I'm quite normal in terms of exercise, and we're a whole range. So my point is, you don't have to be an elite athlete. That's not what we're getting at. So exercise, movement, physical activity can be on any number of levels. So what are the aims of moving against cancer? So in helping people to move against cancer, we aim to keep physical activity fun and sustainable. If it's not fun, if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to do it again. There's no way. You know, if you hate running and your exercise professional who's helping you or trying to help you says, all right, I want you to get up at 6 every morning and go for a 5K run, you're not going to do it. You're definitely not. So fun and sustainable. We aim to reduce the effects of treatment. So I should have put side effects, sorry, because obviously we don't want to reduce the effects of the treatment. We want to reduce the side effects of treatment. We want to, in particular, reduce and help you to self-manage cancer-related fatigue. Fatigue is huge in cancer. It comes with a cancer diagnosis, and it comes with every single type of treatment that you can have for cancer, be it surgery, chemotherapy, radiotherapy, hormone therapy. The list goes on and on and on. The first side effect, the top side effect, is always fatigue. I don't think anyone gets away with it. It's there at some point in everyone's journey. And there is a lot of research now that actually shows that being more active can definitely reduce that fatigue. Hold that thought. We also hope to improve your fitness, to improve your strength, to improve your function, which goes hand in hand with the fitness and the strength. So function being just the activities of daily living, going to school, going to college, going to work, etc. Walking the dog, cooking, looking after your family, the list again goes on and on and on. This one's really important, improve mental well-being. This goes hand in hand. Physical health and mental health definitely go hand in hand. You see people who embark on exercise, on being more physically active, and they start to, almost without exception, start to smile more, start to be happier, start to cope better with daily life. It's just incredible, the two things. So basically, this is what we are aiming to do. We are aiming to help you to live a happier and a healthier life, just like this happy person in the picture there. Okay, so the Move charity has 3 main areas of work, and I'm going to talk a little bit about each one tonight. We have an 8-week online program, which I'll talk about first in a moment. So that is an online exercise program where people get matched with a personal trainer. We also have a thing called 5K Your Way. Some of you may possibly have heard about this. So I'll talk about that one in a minute. And then we also have resources which are just open to anyone to access at any time. So the virtual program, first off. So this is open to young people between the ages of 13 and 30. So possibly not for everybody listening. So apologies if you're over the age of 30. It's an 8-week online program which aims to build foundations for people, children and young people living with cancer. And it's led and designed by level 4 CAN rehab specialists. It's available to anybody in this age group with a cancer diagnosis, and that's regardless of whether they've been inactive or active before they were diagnosed with cancer. And this comes back to what I was saying about, and what Kynwen was saying about the difference between one person's idea of being physically active and another's. So one person, their idea of being physically active might be to walk their little Jack Russell for half an hour every day. And another person might think they've done nothing, and if they haven't been for a 10K run every day. So it's open to all. And what we do is we carefully match everybody who is referred or refers themselves. We carefully match them to one of 5 of us. So there's myself and Helen, who's in this picture here with her laptop open. And then there's Beth and Natalie and Sean. So there's 5 of us. We're all CAN rehab qualified, so we can help people with cancer to safely be more active, regardless of whether they are still having treatment or have finished it a while ago. So on the right here, you can see this is a quote from a lady called Chloe who did the course and who did the online program with Helen. And she says this: "I can now walk up hills without struggling with my breathing, and I now enjoy home workouts again." So that was her goal. That's what she wanted. 8 weeks with Helen, and she gradually built it up and managed to achieve that goal. So I'm going to give you a few more examples from people that have been on the program. So the MOVE program so far has helped, I think, I'm not sure of the exact number, but I think it's hundreds of young people to restart physical activity after their cancer diagnosis. Now, 8 weeks isn't a really long time, but it's usually long enough to just start building the foundations which are needed to get somebody on that road to becoming physically active again. So I kind of think of it sometimes like a springboard, getting people into that mindset of out of the mindset of I can't do it, it's not for me, I'm not fit, I'm not strong, to yes, I can do it in my own way, I can do it. So the first thing I say to people when I'm working with them is, what do you like doing? What do you like doing? And some people will say, I want to dance. And some people will say, I like to swim. And some people might say, do you know what? I haven't been out of the house for 6 weeks. I just want to get out of the house. And then you tailor that program to them. I always start off very, very gently as well. So I'm really happy if that young person comes back to me the following week and just says, that was so easy. What do you want me to do next? It's like, yes, come on, let's get going. Let's get going. So each program completely different, designed specifically for each particular person. So this quote here, this is from a young person, a young girl called Paige. And she said, I've learned to trust my body again and the limits it can go to. I feared running again before, would have panic attacks, feeling I couldn't breathe, like how I was when I was ill. So it brought back all those feelings to her. But with the help of Move, I was able to build myself up and push myself some days and rest others. Rest is really important. And when I was feeling fatigue, sometimes going for a swim or a walk gave me more energy. And some of you might relate to that. And I often say to clients, to people on the program, if you feel really, really tired, just get up, put your shoes on, go out the door and go for a walk. And if after 5 minutes, you're still absolutely exhausted and all you can think about is your bed, then go home and lay down and rest. Your body's fatigued, you need to rest. The chances are after 5 minutes of fresh air and actually moving, you think actually, no, this is all right, I feel okay. And everything starts to kick in. Your circulatory system picks up, the blood starts pumping, your heart starts beating a little bit faster, and your lungs fill up with nice fresh air. And hey, before you know it, you're out and about again. Really, really powerful, but really important if to just acknowledge you could be in the middle of treatment. You could be on day 7 to 10 of chemo and feeling absolutely pooped, and all you need to do is have a lie down, and then you should do that. So with this one-to-one support of a CAN Rehab qualified PT, you can get that advice, and then you can go confident and safely into your exercise program. Has anyone got any questions so far? Don't worry if you haven't. Okay.
No, but there's a couple of comments, Sophie, or just somebody saying that they do the 5K your way in Southwark, and someone else saying, Helen, who I think you showed a picture of, is amazing. The 8-week program is something I would recommend. So
excellent. So somebody's done it. Fantastic. So Helen and I work really closely together, and she is an absolute star. She is just full of beans, full of energy and enthusiasm, as are the rest of the team. But yeah, thanks. I'll tell her she got a shout out. She'll be chuffed to bits. Thank you. Ashley's experience comes up next. So Ashley says, I worked up to the point where I was able to go for a 20-minute walk every day. Boom, he's doing it. So he's gone from being able to do very little. And actually, Ashley, bless him, is now an ambassador for 5K Your Way with Helen. So he did the Move Online program with Helen, and now the two of them have opened a 5K Your Way. I'll tell you a bit more about 5K Your Way a little bit down the line, but that's like completes the whole circle. He's gone from thinking that he can't do anything to actually volunteering for this 5K Your Way and helping other people to achieve their goals as well. So absolutely brilliant. Plus hats off to his lovely dogs. I mean, they're gorgeous, aren't they? Really love them. Okay, I'm going to try and play you this story. So this lady is Lucia, and she did the the Move online course, and she made this little video. It's about 5 minutes, and I'm going to try to play it. See what happens. As I say, I'm not very techie. Hold on. I might have to stop sharing my screen and start again. Do you mind if I stop sharing my screen and then
No, go ahead.
Will that be all right?
Wouldn't be a Zoom call without some technical questions.
Would it? Let's try. Stop share, because I really want you all to see this. Right. Bear with me. Talk amongst yourselves. I will find this. If I can't find it, what you can do is access it on the slides afterwards, but it is worth watching.
I might be able to get it up. Was it in your slides, Sophie?
Yeah.
Let me.
Oh yeah, could you try? Thank you.
I will try as well. Let's see. Sorry about this, everyone, but you know, this is the new world we're in.
Now. I had it all
My
set
computer
up
is
as well.
verifying Microsoft PowerPoint. I don't even know what that means, but let's see how we
Okay,
go.
I've got it.
You've got it, great.
Let me see if I can share. Hold on. Share screen. Here we go. Right, let's try this. Tell me what you can see. No, wrong one. I'm really sorry. It's not going to happen, is it?
I know my PowerPoint is not cooperating.
It's not going to happen. I'm really sorry.
That's all right. Hold on.
What we will do is when you when you get when you download the slides, we can give them the slides, can't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you can go on this yourself and see. Okay, I'm going to share my screen now. Not having an awful lot of luck, am I? What I need is a techie person to do all my tech for me.
Do you need me to share your slides?
No, I think we're there. Are we there?
We're there.
Cool. Thank you. Okay. Okay, sorry everyone. Okay, so Lucia's story is worth watching. Is my take-home point. Sorry, five minutes. Okay, 5K your way. Apologies for that. So 5K your way. So somebody here said that they've been to this one at Southwark, which I think is Carolyn Garrett who runs that one. Anyway, brilliant. So 5K your way basically is an initiative that runs alongside Park Run. So Park Run is an open to absolutely anyone run, a 5K run or walk at loads of thousands, literally thousands of sites all over the country, in fact, all over the world. So in the UK, we are now associated with around about 70 Park Run sites, and we have 5K your way running at 70 of these sites. So the way it works is the last Saturday of every month, at sites that have a 5K your way, you can pitch up to them, and anybody who is affected by cancer in any way at all can pitch up and can be supported by one of usually 3 ambassadors to do the 5K in any way that they see fit. So it might be a walk. It might be that you're like Gemma and you want to run really fast around the whole of the 5K. It might be that you just want to walk a part of it. But what happens is that the ambassadors will be there at the site and will say to you, what would you like to do? Do you want support? Do you want help? And then you can do it. And then the big idea is that once everyone's done their walking, running, whatever, come back, have a cup of tea and a social. So it's like a support group, but with a difference. So support group with that added element of being physically active. Absolutely inspired, and literally hundreds of people every last Saturday of every month join in with a 5K your way at some place all over the country. These are some people that are doing it. These are real pictures wearing the t-shirt. As you can see, it is for absolutely anybody. This is a quote from somebody called Doreen, who attends regularly the one in Nottingham. And she says, I would encourage anyone who, having been diagnosed with cancer, if you can, make the effort, get out and walk with others in the same boat. The company makes it a great start to a Saturday. Personally, it's the highlight of my month. I look after one down in Surrey, Alice Holt Forest in Surrey. We have a small core of people, maybe half a dozen people who come every month. And I'm not joking, every month, at least one other person comes along to talk to us. And sometimes they can be like full on and talking and joining in straight away. Sometimes they'll just stand on the sidelines and kind of watch, see what goes on, and then come along and just start talking about what's happened with them and whether or not we can help them. So it's an absolutely inspired initiative. But then I'm biased. So I'm going to suggest to everybody that at the end of this presentation, I'm going to suggest that you may take one thing home from this presentation. And for you, it may be, I'm going to go and have a look at 5K Your Way. If you look it up, I'm not going to try and play this because I don't want the same thing to happen again. If you look it up online, and you can, in one of these slides here, you have the link to our website. You can watch this. It's literally just about 2 minutes long of what goes on a 5K Your Way day, set to music, people turning up, people having a hug, and then people going around, walking, running, whatever, and just having fun. And then crucially at the end, sitting around the table, enjoying a cup of tea, maybe a cake, maybe something like an apple or something, I don't know. The other thing to say about 5K Your Way is it isn't just for people who have a cancer diagnosis. It is for anyone who is affected by cancer. So it could be people who look after someone with cancer. It could be a mum or a dad or a husband or a wife, families, friends, and also people who work in the cancer field themselves. So we have nurses, we have doctors, radiographers, we have all sorts of people that turn up. And physical exercise, sport, it's a very leveling thing. So you can be there in your t-shirt and you could be alongside a surgeon or an oncologist. In terms of the day, you're the same people. You can chat, you can have a cup of tea with them, and you can talk. It really does even things out. Hugely supportive. So this is where Lucy comes in. She co-founded this with Gemma, and together they have done amazingly in getting it all up and running. The team now is big. We have a 5K Your Way manager who is full-time and works really hard to get new sites open every month. So brilliant. And if you go on the website and have a look, there's a map on there, and you can look at your part of the country and see where your closest one is. You can then scroll down and see who the ambassadors are and how to get hold of them, and where the Facebook group is, and you can send them a message and say, I'm thinking of coming, and they will look out for you. So please, if you haven't tried it, have a go. It's so fun. Are there any questions about 5K Your Way?
Sophie, it looks like there's a few people. I mean, it would be good. I mean, you said there's a Facebook group. A couple of people have said, is there one in Birmingham? And also there doesn't seem to be one in Scotland. So what do you do if there isn't one near you?
Is there not one in Scotland yet?
Or there's not one in Birmingham. I don't know if there's one in Scotland. That was a question for you.
I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna find out for you. So Birmingham. I thought there was one in Birmingham. I'm going to find out and let you know.
According to the website, it looks like there's one in Walsall, but nothing in Birmingham.
Okay. So there are more and more sites opening every month. And if there is a demand for it, and there are people who are willing to be ambassadors there, then certainly we can look at opening them up. It could be that there's one nearby, but I'm not sure. I'll find out for you and let you know. But all the ambassadors at each site, we aim to have 3 ambassadors now. one of whom will usually be a healthcare professional, so they are the link into like the local hospitals and GP practices and things like that. Yeah, so yeah, apologies if there isn't one too close to you, but maybe we can get one started. Maybe you can get involved.
And I know, was it Heather who said that she does the 5K Your Way park run in Southwark? Yeah, and
nice.
Actually, Heather, I think when we met, you were telling me all about how great it was. So yeah, you've got a few fans, definitely.
Good. Yeah, it is amazing. I mean, at Alice Holt, we've had people who are very fit. We have one chap who actually discovered he had cancer because he used to run every week and he would monitor his times. He showed me, he had a little graph of his 5K times, and they started going down, and he started getting worried and thinking, what's going on here? And it turned out that he had a myeloma. So he went and had treatment and has had 2 stem cell transplants now. And he still comes and he still runs. And he says to me, my times are like 10 minutes slower than my PB, but I'm getting there. And every month he comes along and does it. And it's just phenomenal. And then we've had people who are really seriously ill. And I had one lady who sadly has died, but she got great support in the last few weeks of her life by coming along and literally walking no more than 10 meters. And I'd walk it with her, and then we'd walk back again. And that would take us about half an hour. And then we'd sit down and we'd have a cup of tea and a chat. And she absolutely loved it. She could sit there and chat to people about anything and everything, and just get the fresh air and be out in the woods. And anyway, she loved it. So it really is literally for everybody. So yeah, keep going to the one in Southwark, Heather, and I'll find out about Birmingham and Scotland. And it could be that there's some in the pipeline, because I know every month they're starting at least one new one. The third thing that Move do, that their other work stream, is the resources. Now there's loads of different resources, so we've lumped them all into one to kind of make it tidy. So they're basically a group of resources to help inspire, support and educate you in your journey to moving against cancer. So we have podcasts, we have workshops, we have a Facebook group specifically for people who have been on the online program, or who are thinking of going on to the online program. We have online exercise sessions, and we have online educational sessions, and we also have a YouTube channel which you can access after this and have a look at. So first up, podcasts. As I said, it would be really great if all of you just took away one thing from this presentation. And for some of you who maybe are in the middle of treatment, or who are feeling like slightly less active, it might be that actually just listening to a podcast is the thing that is going to suit you best at the moment. So all of these pictures here are all people that have done the podcasts. A quick run around the top left corner are some young people who have done 2, if not 3 podcasts now, talking about all sorts of things about going through treatment. I think one's called What They Don't Tell You. One is talking about your sex life during treatment. And it is unbelievably frank and honest and open, and so worth a listen. Others, we have the bottom left corner, you might recognize Paula Radcliffe, whose daughter Isla had cancer at the age of 14. And there's an incredibly moving podcast with the 2 of them, and Gemma interviews them, and Isla talks frankly about what it was like to have that cancer and what her journey was like going through it. I've listened to that one twice, if not 3 times. Just fantastic. There's a few others here. The one in the right-hand corner in the blue and the pink, this is a chap called Luke Grenfell-Shaw. Luke, amazing young man who was diagnosed with cancer. I think it was a sarcoma, I'm not sure, in his shoulder blade at the back, and went through treatment. And he decided, so he is another Gemma, he decided to cycle from Bristol to Beijing on a tandem, and his idea was that other people who were living with cancer could hop on the back of his tandem and do a little bit of the journey with him. And he coined a phrase, can livers, for people like himself who were living with cancer, living with and beyond. And he did that to raise money for a few charities, including Move. Absolutely fantastic guy. He's done podcasts with us for Move, so those are definitely worth a listen to. So just brilliant. And each one's about, I don't know, 45 minutes long, something like that. Just really worth just popping on while you're, I don't know, going to sleep or something, or going for a walk. This is the latest one, if anyone's interested in that, just because there's a link here for you to access. And this is Lucy chatting to Henry Marsh, who was a neurosurgeon, and then in later life was actually diagnosed himself with prostate cancer. So Lucy talks to him about what it's like being a doctor and then a patient. So really interesting discussion from him. Workshops. So workshops are really coming on a lot at the moment with Move Charity. We've got more and more of them coming. They are hugely popular. These are a couple of the latest ones we've had. On the left, exercising and staying active during chemotherapy. So that was a workshop, and Rebecca and Tom both talked about the research behind it, the facts behind it, about how exercise can actually physically make you feel better while you're having chemo, and what you can and can't do, what you can do safely. And all these you can access on the website as well. They're all recorded and all on our website. The one on the right was an exercise session. We do an exercise session probably every 2 weeks. So this is Natalie on the left and Beth on the right. So these two are also Can Rehab exercise specialists. So they both work on the online program. So if any of you fancy going on the online program and you go onto it, you will get matched with either myself, Helen, Natalie, or Beth. And now we've got Sean as well, but I'm afraid I didn't have any photos of Sean because he's only just started. Okay, Facebook group. So anyone can join a Facebook group. This one is for people between 18 and 30 who are either on the program, on the Move online program, or who've completed it, or who are thinking about doing it. And it was set up by 3 young people who have completed the program, Sophie, Liam, and Millie. So Sophie's there, and the dog, I just found that picture on the Facebook page and couldn't resist it. So he's making an appearance. So Liam, who was one of the founders, had this to say. He said, I went through 6 months of chemotherapy, but I didn't have the community or the support when I was going through my treatment. And when I finally did on the Move program, it was inspirational. So Sophie, Liam, and Millie just came forward and said, please can we set up a Facebook group, because we want people to have that support network. So hats off to them. It's just a brilliant resource for anybody who wants to have a look at it. We're not going to do exercise. Okay, so I want to just have a quick chat about how does being physically active benefit people with cancer. We've touched on this already, but this is all from research. So I want you to know that it is not me just making it up. It is actually things that have been found out from research. It reduces cancer-related fatigue. We know that from research. It's not made up. It's not a story. It's not something we just like to think. It is actually true. It helps to preserve cardiovascular fitness, so heart and lungs, and it also helps to preserve strength as well. So a lot of cancer treatments, and Kynwen touched on this. She said when she was having her treatment, she was flat on her back. A lot of cancer treatments make you feel like that, and you end up becoming physically deconditioned. It's a thing. You lose muscle mass, you lose cardiovascular fitness, you basically can waste away. And I know sometimes You don't look like it because the anti-sickness medication that you can be on can make you look puffy, and some people put on weight, and that can be really debilitating. But inside you lose muscle mass and you lose that cardiovascular fitness. So if you can be physically active from the start of your treatment and through, or if you've missed that boat afterwards, just get back on it and start exercising, you can repair that, and you can preserve, you can regain that cardiovascular fitness and that strength. There's some research to show that it may reduce chemotherapy side effects, which is all good. We know this, it can improve psychological well-being and reduce anxiety. They all go hand in hand. And we also know from research that in some cases, being physically active may reduce the risk of cancer recurrence and prolong somebody's survival. Research on that is very new, but we do know that there is some emerging research to show that. So these are two of our crazy ambassadors just having a bit of a party and celebrating all of those facts. How are we doing for time, Kind? We're okay? Cool. Okay, so from the mouth of Lucy Gossage, who is a consultant oncologist and co-founder of 5K Your Way, this is what she said: exercise is arguably the most underused wonder drug in the NHS. For those living with and beyond cancer, there is persuasive and accumulating evidence that exercise and physical activity during and after cancer has a multitude of benefits: improved physical and psychological well-being, reduced treatment side effects, decreased cancer-related tiredness, enhanced self-esteem, and even prolonged survival. So all the things that we had on the previous slide are there from a consultant. And many of these patients receive long, tough courses of treatment. And during treatment, they do little other than sit in their hospital room. After treatment, we offer little to help them regain their fitness. So this is what Lucy feels is happening in the NHS. And Move Charity hope to bridge that gap and try and offer people the opportunity to get more physically active and hopefully get some of those benefits. People often say if there was a pill that you could take that would achieve all of those things, you would take it. And if exercise is that pill, and if we at Move Charity can help you in some way to achieve that, then we should do it. So a couple more slides and then we're done. So this is the rest of the team. So Beth, Natalie, you've seen already, and Helen. Georgie in the bottom left corner is our 5K Your Way manager. Jade on the next to Natalie is, she's also working on 5K Your Way. Sophie Mulligan next to me is the lady who started the Facebook group. Incredible, Sophie. She's an incredible public speaker as well. She's been through huge amounts of treatment and had 2 relapses from her cancer and is doing amazingly well. So she's absolutely inspirational. And then Rachel on the left looks after all of our resources which you can access on the website. This is the whole team on a team away day. As you can see, we're just it is just an amazing team, and we have a really good friendship as a group, and do these mad things. So this is us going paddleboarding on an away day, because that's the kind of crazy thing we like to do. And then that afternoon we sit down and we get our heads together and we plan what we're going to do with Move next. What are we going to do to help people and inspire them, and so on. And all these amazing ideas come out, and it's an absolute treat to be part of the team. So I'm going to wind up by saying, what will you do next? It would be really, really great if all of you just did, like, if you took one thing home from this. So I'm going to give you a really quick recap. Maybe you'll register on the online Move program and start getting your strength and confidence back, like Chloe in this picture. Maybe you'll go to 5K Your Way and be as happy as this lady there. Maybe you'll have a look at the resources on the website. maybe you do one of the workshops. At the moment, Vicky Fox in the middle there is running a series of 3 yoga workshops. We've done the first one, the second one is next Monday evening, and the following Monday as well. Fantastic, free to enter, free to register, and you can just join in and have a go at some yoga in a safe environment. Or maybe you'll listen to one of these podcasts. I would listen to all of them again. Just fantastic for inspiration. Or maybe you'll get in touch with Sophie Mulligan and try and ask her if you can join the Move as One Facebook group and make some new friends. Loads of people on the group who've been through cancer journeys. So lots of opportunity for new friendships. So these are the contacts that you can use to get in touch about any of those things. We can make these slides available, can't we, Kynwen? If maybe I'll sort them as a PDF and send it to you, and then you could put that up on the
What I'll do is I'll just put my email in the chat, and if anyone would like the slides, drop me an email. But we've been recording this, so we'll also make the video available.
Perfect. And I'm just really sorry that I couldn't make those links work, but if you have 5 minutes to listen to Lucia's journey, well worth a listen. And the 2 minutes about 5K Your Way is also just well worth it, well worth a watch. So
yeah, actually I've got Lucia's journey. I think I've got the link, so I'll post that in the group as well. There were a couple of questions that have come in, Sophie, and I think one of them was actually from Sarah, who said she's recovering from a lumpectomy. She's got radiotherapy next. She wants to lose a bit of weight. But where does she start? And I think this is actually a big question for a lot of people. Where do you start with all of this? Because it feels quite intimidating, I think.
Absolutely. And it's often that making that first move, that's the biggest hurdle. Sarah, it depends what age group you are. She's
in her 40s, sorry, I should have said.
40s. Okay. So the best thing I could suggest is have a look on the Move website and have a look at some of the resources. There are a few workshops for exercise during treatment. I can't remember, was it radiotherapy you're having? Radiotherapy, okay. If you want to let Kynwen have your email address, and I can contact you and we can have a private chat about it as well. There are some PTs, some personal trainers who are cancer qualified, who offer one-to-one sessions. It depends. I don't know what your financial situation is, but some of them can be offered free of charge. So there are occasionally those options as well. So happy to have a chat. That might be the easiest way, and we can go from there.
And I mean, I guess I know one thing a lot of people have told me is, even if you can just keep moving a little bit, if it's, if you're not feeling well, if you can go for a walk around the block, actually walking can be really good exercise, can't it?
Oh, absolutely. I think everyone should do that as a minimum, really. Even if, your minimum might be walking to the front door and back if you're like really struggling. Or if you're not struggling, it might be like a mile walk every day or something like that. So yeah, definitely. So Sarah, it depends on loads of things. It depends on your treatment and how you're feeling. And honestly, I'm more than happy to have a chat with you. There's definitely, the reason I'm hesitating is there isn't one size fits all. And that's why on the Move program, it's all one-to-one. We don't do classes. We don't say, oh, what cancer do you have? Oh, here's your exercise sheet. We say, right, let's have a chat. What cancer do you have? What treatment have you been through? What's your situation? Are you working? Are you at college? Are you at school? What do you, and so on and so on and so on. So there's so many things. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. If you can just keep moving, that would be amazing. I would say try to get advice from physios within the hospital as well. All of that should be open to you. Again, it may not be so personalized, so but it can help.
Yeah. Great. Thank you, Sophie. There was someone else, Rebecca, who's asked a question. So she's got a hip fracture. I think it's sort of cancer related. It hasn't really caused any problems, but she's been told, so she swims once a week, and she's just wondering, you know, the oncologist hasn't given her any info. Should she be doing some weight bearing exercises? Is swimming okay? I mean, that I don't know how much, obviously you don't know the details of her situation, but I suppose swimming is quite a nice exercise in a lot of cases, isn't it?
Yeah, swimming can be amazing. Swimming is my true love as well. I adore swimming. But it can be. Occasionally it can be not suitable. So for people who are immunocompromised, so if you're in the middle of chemotherapy, you don't want to be in a chlorinated pool with everybody's germs kicking around and so on. And also, Rebecca, I'm thinking with your hip, it's going to depend what stroke you're swimming, because if you're doing breaststroke, you're moving your hips in a very different way to if you're doing crawl or doing backstroke. And it depends on, I'm wondering how old you are as well, Rebecca, if you'd be within the 13 to 30, in which case you could come onto the MOVE program and get some specific advice from somebody.
I think she's a bit older. If it's the Rebecca I know, yeah, 42.
Mostly breaststroke too old. Okay.
Yeah.
Again, happy to have a little chat with you if you want. If you want to let Kynwen have your email to pass on to me, I'm quite happy to have a little chat. I would just personally, I wouldn't be able to advise you unless I knew why you had that hip fracture. You know, what it's come from, if it's a metastatic fracture or if it's something completely unrelated, if you're having it treated, if you're going for a hip replacement or a pin, etc., etc., etc. So it's so complicated. I mean, normal, like non-cancer health is so complicated. If you throw cancer into the mix as well, then you have like a heady mix of things going on.
No, that's great. But one question I had actually, just in your talk, was you mentioned the CAN rehab specialist, which I think is a qualification you have. Is that right?
Yes.
Could you just say a little bit about that, but also maybe how do you find a CAN rehab specialist if you're not in the 18 to 30 age group?
Yeah, that's really interesting. So so CAN Rehab is a trust. CAN Rehab Trust is a charity as well. And it's run by Professor Anna Campbell. And basically, CAN Rehab run a course, which is a level 4 qualification for people who are already personal trainers or physiotherapists. And it's quite an intense course over 5 days, 5 full days, and then you do case studies and exams. And at the end of it all, you are qualified to work as a personal trainer with people with a cancer diagnosis. I know that CAN Rehab Trust are developing a register. They're collating a register of people across the country who have that qualification. And I know that what they would love to do is set it up. This is what they're aiming to do, is set it up as a register, so that anyone with a cancer diagnosis who doesn't fall into that MOVE age group, so adults with cancer diagnosis, can then contact CAN Rehab Trust and go through a process where they can be almost triaged and matched against a personal trainer who's CAN Rehab qualified. And then the tricky thing, this is always going to be the tricky thing, is the financial side of it. And I know that CAN Rehab Trust want to make it available free of charge to people, and in order to do that they have to have funding from other sources. So it's a work in progress. I don't think it will be too long before it is up and running. Meanwhile, if you wanted to contact CAN Rehab Trust anyway, I'll put that in the chat in a minute. I'll put the website in the chat. And get in touch with them and ask them. You can definitely be put in touch with a CAN Rehab qualified PT who you may then, oh, there are, someone's done it. Thank you, Hazel. You may then need to pay that PT to do to have one-to-one sessions with them. So yeah, what I'm saying is it's not like an NHS thing at the moment. I mean, we would dearly love it to be an NHS thing, but it isn't. But if you contact Can Rehab Trust, and you will definitely be able to find somebody who you could work with, either somebody local to you or somebody online.
Great, thank you.
And most PTs, most Can Rehab, sorry, Cameron, most Can Rehab PTs have a complete range of how they charge people and do some pro bono work as well. So it's definitely worth getting in touch and finding out what's available.
Great. Now, poor Jo has had her hand up for ages. So Jo, I want to go to you. Do you want to take yourself off mute or pop your question in the chat, whichever you...
No problem.
Hello.
I can talk, no worries.
Hi, Jo.
Yay.
Hi, thank you so much for a really informative presentation. That was great
It's a pleasure.
to you. So I guess a bit of background. I have a PhD in sport and exercise science.
Okay.
I'm also a breast cancer survivor of 2 years.
Fantastic.
And I'm an athlete, and I've even got my bronze medal from competing in Belgium this weekend.
Oh my goodness,
So,
well done.
Yes, I'm an active person.
Yeah.
I was very active prior to cancer as well. And like you, I think you mentioned exercise theoretically being the best pill that someone can have. And I have also held on to that quote, exercise as medicine, throughout my life until I got cancer.
Yeah.
And after I had cancer, I really struggled because obviously, admittedly, sport and exercise was a big part of my identity. I then struggled to think, well, it hasn't actually prevented me from getting breast cancer. I appreciate it has a lot of benefits mentally, physically, and as you described in your presentation. But more and more athletes now are getting cancer as well. What advice do you give for people like me? Because don't get me wrong, it's really important if you're not active or you've lost your physical fitness to regain it post-treatment. But more and more people are thinking, well, I can't actually get much fitter than I am right now.
Yeah. So you're absolutely right. More and more people in general are getting cancer. I think the stats are now something like 1 in 2 people in our lifetimes will get cancer. So it stands to reason that a lot of athletes are also going to get cancer. So I think is your question, what can you do because you're very, very fit and you want to stay fit?
I think it's more that how to manage that kind of that transition.
That
level.
Okay.
Because admittedly this is quite strange, but over the weekend I had about 5 hours on Saturday when I was competing. And what you're saying about side effects, the next day I had no hot flushes whatsoever, and that was the first time in about 18 months. But of course I don't do that level of intense exercise every single week.
No. And do you think that unless you do, you're not going to get the benefits of it?
Exactly. It seems like I literally have to push myself to my limits in order to get that benefit, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. And that must have been quite a problem when you were going through treatment. Yeah, really, really hard. I mean, with exercise in general, people who are less fit can make much bigger inroads than people who are very fit. So somebody, for instance, who's never run can get to a 5K in 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks, something like that, which is a huge leap. But someone who's already running like a 18-minute 5K and wants to get to like 17 minutes, it's a much bigger
marginal gain.
Yeah, a huge ask. So I don't know. I mean, ideally, I would say it would have been brilliant if you'd have been allocated a PT at the start of your treatment, someone that could help you continue at the level, or not at that level, but at a level which would be good enough for you to get the benefits. I would imagine that no matter what you're doing, you will get some benefits from it, even if it doesn't feel like it to you. I think it must be incredibly frustrating. And I think, I don't know, I wonder if Gemma would have more idea, being an elite athlete that's gone through all of this. It's a very niche, you're a very niche person.
It is, yeah, I agree.
But it's gonna be more and more.
Joe, I was going to say, I mean, I'm not an elite athlete. I don't have a bronze medal from anywhere. But I think, you know, I can remember when I got ill saying to my hematologist, I was running 10K races with people on my back. I was doing British military fitness before I got ill. I had been a vegetarian for 15 years, you know, like how could I get ill? And being really angry about it, actually, because I felt like, oh, I've done everything right. So how did I get ill? And, you know, obviously they can't, no one can tell you why you get sick. And, you know, anyone in this call will never know the answer to that, unfortunately. But what they did say was, you know, like being fit will make the treatment, you know, it gives you better odds of survival. It makes the treatment easier, and it does help your recovery. And so it's a mental game, I think, as much as a physical. And it's really hard. It's hard when you've got those questions about why this happened. You know, why did this happen to you? And like you said, I mean, I can't imagine in your situation, how much fitter can you get? Right.
Yeah.
But
I absolutely agree with that. It's I get people like this all the time saying, what did I do?
Yeah.
And it really isn't. Oh, thank you, Heather. Thank you for coming. It's bad luck.
I totally understand why it's happened in terms of like, it's one of those random things you can't control.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah,
it's genetics. It's genetics. It's the genes mutating, and then faulting, like making a mistake. And then normally our genes make our DNA makes mistakes. This is getting technical, but makes mistakes every single minute of the day. But normally your body corrects it and gets rid of the rubbish ones. Cancer is when it doesn't, and it's like a flip of a coin. It's nothing you did. Joe, I would say have a chat with Gemma. If you want to give Kynwyn your email, and I'll talk to Gemma and see if she wants to have a chat with you, and see you could compare notes and see if she's got any other, because she was going through exactly that, you know, an elite athlete during treatment, and what do I do, and how do I stay at that kind of level, and how do I exercise at a level which is actually going to give me some benefit.
Yeah, grand. Thank you.
All right, no worries.
Well, unbelievably, we are out of time, but I put my email in the chat, so please feel free to drop me an email. I know a couple of people have left their messages in the or their emails in the chat, so I will get in touch with you as well. Sophie, thank you so much. This has been really useful, and I hope, you know, if someone said thank you for the session, I'm inspired and I'm off for a walk now. So, you know, if that's the only thing that you take away from today, I think, you know, that's been great, and hopefully you will feel better mentally as well as physically. So
I'm sure you will.
We wish you well, and please get in touch with Sophie, and get in touch with Shine as well, because we've got loads of great podcasts and as well, and other programs that can help you, you know, emotionally to cope with everything that cancer throws your way. So thank you.
Fantastic charities. Move and shine.
Absolutely. Oh, and actually, just as you're leaving, I have one poll. If you could just answer the poll about what you thought of the session, we would be very grateful. Just drop your answer in before you go. And and if you've got any other questions at all, please just let us know. But Sophie, thanks so much. I'm just going to
stop recording. It's an absolute pleasure.
It's great to have you, and so nice to